I find it really weird that people could actually write happy songs when they're happy.
He doesn't follow fashion. He doesn't care about looking cool. Robert Smith simply feels, and generations have found comfort in his melancholy. For over 45 years, his voice has been the sound of beautiful sadness. There are prettier singers, cleaner voices, but nobody captures emotional honesty like him. Nobody makes heartbreak sound so necessary. He was the outsider who made being different acceptable. The goth icon who wrote perfect pop songs. When punk demanded aggression, he chose vulnerability. When the new wave went synthetic, he stayed emotional. When critics dismissed him as depressing, millions found hope in his darkness. But beneath all that makeup, all those dramatic performances, are songs that define his journey.
We were asked which one, we've done quite a few love songs.
Tracks that remind him why music matters more than image, why one man's refusal to hide his feelings could give voice to millions. Smith remembers which songs still move him after decades of playing them. The architect of sadness has chosen. His selections reveal a heart that never closed. 10. Boys Don't Cry. Some songs are debut statements. This one was an autobiography. Boys Don't Cry arrived in 1979. Robert Smith, barely 20 years old. Already understanding that society's rules about masculinity were prison. The song was simple, almost naive, but revolutionary in its honesty. A man admitting he cried, that he felt too much, that pretending hurt worse than showing emotion.
The Cure have played recently, maybe 3 times in the last sort of 15 years.
Smith said it reminds him of being very young, that innocence before the world hardens you. The melody was bright despite the sad message, that contrast making it perfect pop. The radio didn't know what to do with a crying boy, but teenagers understood immediately. Finally, someone said what they felt. The recording was straightforward, no studio tricks, just guitars, bass, drums, and Smith's voice cracking slightly on certain lines. That imperfection made it real. Live performances kept that youthful energy, Smith still believing every word decades later. For Smith, Boys Don't Cry represents permission to feel, how vulnerability connects rather than isolates. 9. A Forest. Some songs are dark. This one was lost in darkness completely. A forest stretched past 5 minutes, hypnotic bass line repeating endlessly, Smith's voice describing running through trees that never end. The song was nightmare-made music, that feeling of being chased by something you can't see or name, anxiety given perfect form. The recording happened during 17-second sessions, the band finding their atmospheric sound. That bass line from Simon Gallup became iconic, simple but impossible to forget. Smith's guitar added texture without dominating. The whole thing felt like fog made audible, surrounding you until direction disappeared.
A record that sold 3 million, I very much doubt if we'd all cry.
The song became their first significant hit, proving dark music could reach mainstream audiences. Radio stations played it despite not understanding it. Listeners felt it without needing explanation. That's when Smith realized The Cure could be successful without compromising. For Smith, A Forest represents atmosphere over structure. How feeling beats explanation. How getting lost sometimes means finding yourself. 8. Primary. Some songs are complex. This one was urgent and simple. Primary came from Smith writing on bass, that 6-string Fender creating the song's foundation. The rhythm drove forward relentlessly, Smith singing about basic emotions stripped to their core. Primary colors, primary feelings, everything reduced to essentials. The song appeared on Faith, marking The Cure's darkest period. But Primary had energy that album mostly avoided, that pulse keeping it moving when everything else stood still.
This is when Sue and Budgie went to do The Creatures.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was a reaction to that, actually, didn't they?
We thought of it much before then.
Smith's vocal was desperate, reaching for something just out of grasp. The production was sparse, letting the bass dominate, drums and guitar supporting rather than leading. Live performances turned it into trance. Audiences locked into that rhythm, moving without thinking. Smith never tired of playing it, that bass line still exciting him. The song proved The Cure could be dark without being slow, intense without being heavy. For Smith, Primary represents stripping everything to what matters. How simplicity creates power when the emotion is real. 7. Pictures of You. Some songs are about love. This one was about love's ghost. Pictures of You came from looking at photographs after loss. Smith capturing that specific pain of memory made physical. The song stretched past 7 minutes, building slowly, never rushing the emotion. Every word mattered because everything hurt. Smith wrote it about specific photographs, moments frozen that felt more real than present. The production on Disintegration was lush, layers of guitars creating a soundscape that felt infinite. The drums were huge, filling space with emotion. Smith's vocal was tender, every line sung like prayer or apology.
It's the love song, I think, on the album, but it's not really a love song.
The song became fans' favorite, that combination of beauty and sadness hitting perfectly. Wedding couples chose it despite its melancholy. Understanding love always carries potential loss. Smith said it surprised him how it connected, how personal grief became universal comfort. For Smith, Pictures of You represents memory as a blessing and curse, how photographs preserve and torture simultaneously. 6. Plain Song. Some songs start small. This one started massive. Plain Song opened Disintegration with a wall of sound, guitars cascading like waterfalls, drums announcing something epic arriving. No singing for 2 minutes, just pure atmosphere building anticipation. When Smith's voice finally entered, it felt like relief and intensification simultaneously. The song was about surrender, about accepting you can't control everything. Smith's vocal was buried in the mix deliberately, one voice among many sounds. The production was opposite of minimalist, everything layered until it became overwhelming. That was intentional.
Tonight was honestly the best for me. It was really, really lovely, yeah.
Capturing the feeling of being consumed by emotion too big to process. Fans made it an anthem. That opening created instant recognition and excitement. Smith said it still gives him chills playing it, that moment when everything comes together. The song proved The Cure could be cinematic, creating music that felt like landscape rather than just songs. For Smith, Plain Song represents scale-matching emotion, how sometimes feelings require orchestras even in rock music. 5. Just Like Heaven. Some songs hide sadness. This one wrapped it in sunshine. Just Like Heaven was Smith's most perfect pop song, deceptively upbeat music containing bittersweet lyrics about perfect moments you know won't last. The title was ironic, heaven always temporary in Smith's world, but the melody was pure joy, that guitar riff impossible not to love. Smith said everything meshed perfectly, one take capturing magic they couldn't recreate. The recording process surprised them, expecting to work harder for that result. Sometimes songs arrive complete, refusing to be improved. The whole thing felt effortless, that lightness making the melancholy hit harder. Radio embraced it, giving The Cure its biggest hit yet. Critics finally admitted Smith could write perfect pop without sacrificing depth. Dinosaur Jr. covered it, influencing how The Cure played it after. The song proved darkness and light weren't opposites but partners. For Smith, Just Like Heaven represents perfect contradiction, how the saddest songs need the brightest melodies. 4. Love Song. Some songs are declarations. This one was a wedding gift. Love Song came from Smith writing something for his wife, Mary, their wedding approaching. The lyrics were direct, no metaphor hiding a simple statement of commitment. However far away, however long apart, however anything, love remained constant. That simplicity made it devastating. The production stripped everything non-essential, letting words dominate. Smith's vocal was tender, vulnerable without being weak. The rhythm was steady like a heartbeat, reliable and constant. Nothing flashy, just honest declarations set to music that enhanced without distracting. The song became their biggest American hit, reaching number 2. Pop stations played it constantly, introducing The Cure to audiences who thought they were just goth. Smith performed it at his actual wedding, that moment making the song even more meaningful. Decades later, it remained true rather than sentiment. For Smith, love song represents love without cynicism, how commitment means more than passion, how the simplest words work best. 3. Disintegration. Some songs are titles. This one was a mission statement. Disintegration stretched over 8 minutes, Smith documenting emotional collapse in excruciating detail. The song wasn't a metaphor, it was a clinical observation of depression's process. Everything falling apart slowly, pieces too small to gather back together. The production matched the theme, sounds decaying throughout, structure loosening until nothing held firmly. Smith's vocal grew more desperate. That careful control slipping with each verse. The keyboards created an atmosphere of dissolution, guitars adding texture to emptiness. Everything served the concept perfectly. Smith said the song captured a specific period of his life, that feeling of watching yourself disappear. Recording it was difficult emotionally, reliving those feelings to make it authentic. But the result justified the pain, creating documents that helped others recognize their own struggles. For Smith, disintegration represents naming the darkness, how documentation becomes a survival tool, how the worst moments produce most honest art when captured accurately. 2. End. Some songs have endings. This one was acceptance. End closed. Wish with finality. Smith documenting goodbye without drama. Just a statement that everything concludes. Relationships, careers, life itself. The song wasn't sad exactly, more resigned to inevitability. That acceptance made it powerful rather than depressing. The song proved the Cure could be understated, that whispers sometimes shout louder than screams. Fans embraced it despite, or because of, its finality. Everyone faces endings. Smith just articulated what others felt but couldn't express. Live performances were reverent, audiences silent and respectful. Smith sang it like benediction, blessing rather than curse. For Smith, end represents peace with impermanence, how accepting conclusions makes them bearable. 1. Faith. Some songs change lives. This one changed Smith's. Faith closed the album of the same name. 11 minutes of despair made beautiful. Smith said he'd never write anything that would move him as much, never encapsulate a life period so completely. The song was about losing faith in everything: God, people, yourself, the world. The production was skeletal, creating space where faith used to exist. Smith's vocal was exhausted, someone who'd cried until tears stopped. The guitar work was minimal, notes chosen for maximum emotional impact. Everything served the emptiness at the song's core. Recording it was cathartic and devastating, Smith pouring genuine crisis into music. The result was too honest for the mainstream, but connected deeply with those experiencing similar darkness. The song became The Cure's heart, defining who they were beyond any other track. For Smith, faith represents complete emotional exposure, how the hardest songs sometimes save you, how documenting darkness proves you survived it. For Smith, a song isn't real unless it bleeds. These 10 represent his journey: vulnerability, atmosphere, urgency, memory, scale, contradiction, commitment, dissolution, acceptance, and crisis. Which Cure song speaks to your darkness? Comment below and subscribe for more Gothic hearts laid bare.